Hello everybody, this is a sit and talk for all those people out there that want to mod Bethesda games but don't know where to start. Now the first thing I'm going to say to you off the hoof, right, is, and I'm speaking here as a guy that's made 32 quest mods. They all work together, they don't need patches, they don't need mod cleaning, they don't need any special tools, they just work, and they work in any order because I know how to make mods, and the people that might tell you to mod clean your stuff don't, right, they don't. First thing to do when you make, this is the first rule of thumb you should adopt. If you're going to edit something, right click on something and select copy. That's the biggest tip you'll get from anybody, and edit the copy. This might leave a mark on the thing you copied. Probably will in some cases. Tools will say you've made a dirty edit there. You haven't. You haven't edited the original at all. It just marked it that way. You made a copy of it. If they try to clean that copy away, it will remove everything you've edited. So if you copy that and make that, and then you clean this using their tools, this disappears as well. They break your mod, which is why I say don't listen to these mod cleaning types. They've got no clue the harm they're doing to their own game. You couldn't fix their bugs anyway. You need to have the same mod list they've got, the same order, do exactly the same things as they do. And in my experience, they don't tell you the truth when they're making a report anyway. There's no way you can help them. So if they say to you, I've got a problem, can you help me? Just say no. Because quite frankly, their issues are going to be random. And you can't predict random, you can't fix random. So just don't waste your time there. But copy and then edit the copy. If the copy is a character, you'll have packages on it. You have to be aware that some of these packages might send your NPC to the same location as the original one you copied. So you end up with two copies in the same location. So if you see two NPCs looking exactly the same in the same location, somebody's forgotten to edit the packages. So that's a bug, an easy one to find out, given to you for free here, so you know what's happening when you see it. But you give it your own packages. You can put, see, if you see little squares with little points on, they're idle animations. If you use a wander package, right, and you allow your NPC to wander around a location, they will use those idle animations. Like one of them might be warm hands, the other one might be drink a beer, the other one might be dance. So they might walk around a room drinking beer, warming hands and dancing, right, because of the idle animations placed on. So if you're doing a room with NPCs, check out idle animations in the editor because they're really fun stuff, especially from Skyrim onwards. I don't think they exist in Oblivion. I think you have to be more specific with Oblivion. It's a different system entirely. But anyhow, now they're the basics right there. So what would I recommend you edit? Well, first of all, you've got to know characters, how to make characters work and everything else. So let's just say, right, you want to learn how to do a proper mod in Skyrim and something people can enjoy over and over again. So we're going to go with a new level. We're going to make a dungeon, and I'm going to talk you through some of the basics here so you understand. Now first of all, you need to make the level. Now if you're doing Skyrim, I recommend using Dwemer stuff because there's loads of Dwemer stuff there. It's clearly marked and it's actually really fun because you can do some great things to it. Now just remember scale. You can make something bigger or smaller in the edit, so you don't need to use some of the original size. You can make a fence that big, you know, or that small. So you can make scale, you can rescale it. You can also mix it in with caves. You can have cave stuff. Bethesda do it all the time. So you can have bits of Dwemer stuff sticking out of cave walls. These are all fun. So you make your level up like that, and then you Navmesh it, or you do whatever you need to do to make the AI compatible with that level. This is where it walks. So you find out you know how to make AIs move on a level. Research that. In Skyrim and Fallout 4, it's Navmesh, and the other one I can't remember what they call it, but it's a dots. You join the dots, and then you tell it where the doors are. There's a special system for doing that. Usually it's a simple click on a menu item and it does it for you. So anyhow, you've got your level, you've Navmeshed it all so they can move. You now go to level lists, right? You look down the level list for the things you want. Now, if you wanted, say, Dwemer creatures, you'd find the level list with Dwemer creatures. If you click on that, right, it'll show you all the Dwemer creatures that have been spawned at different levels. If you then drag one of them off into the middle of your level, when the player enters, it will spawn a creature there. You've got yourself a level now that's got combat involved in it, because that will attack the player automatically because they're all default settings. If you wanted to be a bit cleverer, you can right click on the level list you want to edit, select copy, then edit the copy, mixing different creatures. You do that with loot. It's best to do that with loot. It makes your level a lot more interesting. But if you do your own, then drop your own in, then the spawn points will make it different from every other cave in the game. Right? You see an M. It'll appear as an M in Skyrim. Right? So that means monster spawn. If you put a chest down, you might notice it's got a level list inside it. That's the list of items it will spawn. Now, if you just right click and copied the level list it uses, and you edited the copy, then you created your own chest by, right clicking, copy, and change the contents of the chest. You could change the loot available in your level. So you could make, every time you open a chest, you get different loot. Something I used to really enjoy was making up my own level lists. And if you make up your own level list, no other mod will change them. If you use a default game, other mods can edit them as well. Sometimes you want that. Sometimes this is a way of having one mod edit another mod without actually being in the mod. So sometimes you'll want that. You'll want other mods to add loot, because sometimes another person's mod entirely might add sets of armor to a level list, and then you might want that armor to appear in your game. Right, and probably for yourself, to be honest, because it's not something that would necessarily work with anybody else unless anybody else had the same armor mod. And to be honest, if they edited default armored lists to add their own armor, they'd be making a dirty mod. So it's probably not a mod you should use. So it'd be very, very personal. It'd be something you know there's an error with. You know it's a dirty mod, but you like it so much you want to install and use it anyway. So it'd be that kind of situation. But anyway, generally speaking though, it's best to make your own level list. If you make your own level list and you place it on the thing, you have your spawn points, you'd have your creatures running around, where they're supposed to be. And you can make it as hard or as easy as you like. But just remember, from Skyrim onwards, entering a level locks that level. So if you were entered at level 2, they're locked at level 2. When you go back at level 50, they'll still be level 2. So, unless you actually deliberately tell it to spawn a level 50 character, even at level 2, which you can do, right, that level there will stick on easy mode if you enter it too early. I once give a guy most people know, Afmos, some advice not to use Black Reach in one of his mods. And I got loads of shit for him suggesting it. But it means when you spawn there, Black Reach is level locked at level 0. So it wasn't a good choice for spawn locations. But anyway, it says that's your level there, right there. You can make it as fancy as you like. And this is the key point. This is why I mentioned this as a good start for when you want to make mods, right? This particular idea, you can go mad on your level. But just remember, the bigger the level, the more powerful the computer needed to run it. So if you want to run yours on the Xbox, you might want to make the levels a bit smaller and have more levels that are connected together. If you want to run it on a supercomputer, make it fantastically huge. And just remember, like I said, you can change the size of objects, the scale of an object. So you can make a small stone massive or a massive stone small. But just remember the object count. That's the polygons making up the objects itself and the number of objects of that type, because they all slow the game down. Too many objects. For instance, don't place thousands of individual coins anywhere. Just don't do it. Right? Some people think it's good. Don't do it at all. Always stay away from that. Be aware of the object count. Use lighting effectively. If you make a thing extremely dark, then the lighting looks brilliant, but it's really hard to navigate. Bethesda, when they did Skyrim SE, they made most of their levels a lot darker. And as a consequence, right, you need a torch now. You never did in the original Skyrim because it was so light you could run around without a torch. So it's kind of that effect. You can also highlight things. You know, you have a beam of light shine onto something when the lighting's done effectively. And lights, that's another thing. When you light the level, because you'll need to light it, you need to go to lighting. You can right click, copy the lights, and then edit the copy. Same thing again. This is what you should be doing anyway. Edit the copy. If everything in your level is edited, right, a copy of it's an edit of a copy, nothing any other mod does will affect your level. So if you get into the habit of making a copy of everything, you're safe. You're not going to get any conflicts ever, right? You might get the odd mod cleaner trying to remove an edit, like I said at the beginning, because it marks it as edited when it isn't. Right, but that's it. So copy and edit is a good thing, right? Do it as much as you can. Now here's the last tip for this video. When you copy and edit something, give it a tag. Like from my old website, the Engineering Guild, I used to put tag, TEG, / and then whatever it was. And then when you go to search for your items, there's a little search box in Skyrim onwards. You go tag / and everything with tag on it appears. And it filters out everything else, so you just see your own stuff. That speeds up modding immensely. That is the second best tip after copying I can give you. Give yourself a tag, right? If your name's Bob, put Bob / and then that. Everything called Bob will magically appear when you type it in the search box, and you'll be able to find your stuff and edit your stuff in lightning speed. It greatly increases the time it takes. Well, it greatly reduces the time it takes you to make your mod, and it also makes it easier to find everything. But anyway, remember what I said. If you see two NPCs stood together identical, then somebody's forgotten to change their packages. That's a common mistake to make. And packages, again, they're best edited, or copy and edit again, for the same reasons. Now, as before I go, I will say this. If you stick to using default stuff without editing it, like you just drop normal bandits in directly, that's fine. You can do that. You can do the chests in directly, that's fine. You can do that. If you then load a model up, your level up, and you're running around it works, fine. If you then install some mods and it suddenly starts crashing, you will get reports from other people that your level crashes out. Just remember, you use default game, chests, default game, NPCs, default game everything. Anything that edited them will affect your mod. So if you've got another mod that adds things to chests and one of them's buggy, it will cause your mod to crash out. So if you use default game items without editing the copy, you leave yourself wide open to the bugs of another mod affecting your mod. This is why copy and editing is so important, right? Because if you copy and then edit the copy, you're the only mod maker with that copy. Nobody else can edit it. So nobody else can cause your mod to crash. And that's a very important tip there. Because these tips here save you an awful lot of time when you're bug fixing. Because if you know you've got a default game chest in your mod and it's crashing after you've installed something that edits things that would be in a chest, then it's probably the thing that added the item to the chest that's causing the crash, not your mod. Just something you learn. I've had this argument out with loads of people on forums, and because they didn't understand the modding system, they didn't understand what I was talking about. I might as well be speaking to squirrels. But as a general rule, right, it's good to support default game stuff because everybody else's work will appear in your work in the form of whatever level list they're added to. But it's bad because they shouldn't be editing those level lists in the first place. Because editing the default game level list affects everything. So the only mods I would say it's okay to edit default game level lists is overhauls. Because overhauls are designed to overhaul the whole game, and they have no other choice but to edit those default game level lists. So leave the default game level list to them. Let them edit those items. And if someone's running an overhaul with your mod and just entering a level causes a crash and it doesn't on your system, ask them if they're running an overhaul. If they say yes, then something on your list is loading something that overhaul has changed. This, by the way, is how you bug fix an overhaul. This is why my overhauls never crashed, because I bug fixed them this way. You know, it allowed me to pinpoint where the bug was coming from, trace it back. In some of the games, I can't remember if it's Oblivion or Skyrim, sometimes the first item on the level list would change to AAA or something or other. It wouldn't be something that should be placed in the game world. And as a result, every time it randomly selected the item to be spawned in the game world, it'd crash the editor out, well, it'd crash the game out. So to me, I knew what to look for. Anyway, hopefully this will give you a clue where to go and what to do, how to get started. Level creating is a lot of fun. If you're making quest mods, you need levels. you can't make a quest mod interesting without having your own custom levels. I mean, I've made thousands of Dwemer levels for Oblivion and Skyrim. I've made new cities for Fallout and all kinds of stuff. I didn't for Fallout New Vegas because they had a Navmesh bug, and that meant making new areas was impossible because the NPCs couldn't use them. But generally speaking, though, new levels is a really good way to start because you've got to deal with NPCs, level creation, nav meshing, AI packages, loot. It brings it all together. It's just a really good way of doing it. Plus, you can test it and test it and test it, and testing at your own level is actually quite a lot of fun. And if you were to create your own level lists, you can get round the level locking. When someone first enters the level, it's locked at the level of the character, then you can get around it by simply saying, look, I want this level to spawn a level 50 character regardless of what level the player is at. And as a consequence, a level 50 character will always be on that level. You can make it as hard or as easy as you like. And you can generate your own custom loot, a sword of greater battering. You know, with its own custom specs. You can easily make these things. You make a level list with loot, right? What that loot is up to you. If you edit a sword you like, right? Say a silver sword, give it new specs and maybe an enchantment, you could put it in your own chest and have it on your level, and your level could generate lots of custom loot. And it does make it a lot more interesting, and it's worth it. The deeper you dig into that rabbit hole, the better it gets. So this is a good task for you to get your teeth into first. If you do try it, be sure to let me know, you know, it is what it's done. Maybe send me a link, you know, so I can give it a whirl. Because if I get time, I'd love to see that kind of thing. Right? So anyhow, that's easy done. It's not a quest, but all quest mods need these locations. So that'll take up a lot of your time making these levels and stuff like that, and you'd learn a lot from it. So see you in the next one, and let me know if you go ahead and what you're doing. Maybe post some screenshots. Okay, see you soon.